We either change the politician's mind or we change the politician. And that's where we are. Okay, getting to some of the state issues. I picked some of the ones that really affect your pocketbook and are really quite annoying. And here's one on the positive side for a change. Taxpayer Protection Act. It's Senate Bill 7. And while he didn't even know I was going to bring this up tonight, Senator Fulmer is a prime sponsor of that bill. Where are you, Senator? Stepping up for the plate. This bill is basically intended to limit the growth of the government, the spending, to the CPI. CPI meaning Consumer Price Index. And it's going to be, of course, adjusted for any change in population, but Pennsylvania's not growing that fast. Our businesses are leaving, so are the people. They're all going to Texas. So, be that as it may, the way this thing is going to work is he's got, I think, about 7 co-sponsors. Politicians do not run a bill with only a few co-sponsors. They need a force, or it's going to die in committee. And I'm sure Senator Fulmer would be ecstatic if he had more co-sponsors on this bill. And the way he's going to get them on that bill is just like my committee is going to interface with people like Katie and their group over in Lebanon and Army Girl down in York. We're going to interface with those people, and we're going to show them these bills are there, and they got to get their elected officials to get on that bill. And by the same token, you folks, you heard the announcement that there's sheets back there with all the politicians' names, email addresses, and phone numbers. Start hammering them. Tell them, we want you on this bill because we want this bill passed. Politicians put this bill in to protect themselves from themselves. They don't know how to control their spending. It's really going to protect us from them. That's the ultimate goal, as far as I say. The reason for this bill is the whole time of the Rendell tenure, the state spending has gone up twice the CPI for those 7 years. So that is all spending above what would be the maximum amount if we got this bill passed. And the population's not growing. They're just taking more of our money and spending it on
sending it to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Here's another who's been around for a while. They're making fools of us. Representative Rohr has been pushing this for 4 or 5 years. And every year, he tries to get it onto the floor for a vote, but for years, the House and the Senate, mostly the House, they always try to come up with a hybrid. Act 51, I think, was the first hybrid, as far back as I researched. 50 and 72 were there too. And they were all bills to pit one against another. They provide a relief to senior citizens, claiming they might get some from gambling or wherever they're going to get it. But nothing for the rest of us. Or various methods such as 1600. Similarly, I testified on 1600. The Finance Committee came to Berks County a couple of years ago, and I testified. I see another gentleman here, Ken Hefner, he testified, and we told him what we thought of 1600. Well, 1600 went nowhere. It was another hybrid bill to have the state pick up some of the cost and let the school boards continue to raise the millage to balance their books. It would not stop school boards from continuing to raise your property tax, and it would not serve its purpose. Unless we get something done with this. Last year, there was an article in the paper, fairly recently, the Reading Eagle, that the amount of houses that went into default or foreclosure was an all-time record. What we're seeing coming up, based on all indications that I see, is we're going to set another new record on foreclosures. And it isn't because people can't pay their mortgage always, it's because they can't pay their taxes. They need $5,000 and $6,000 right off the top if they're living in a modest home, and it's not going to ease up. The problem of taxing your property is absolutely immoral in the first place. But you just visualize a senior couple that can pay their bills and perhaps the spouse dies, and of course, the Social Security significantly goes down, suddenly she finds she can't pay the bill. And she's gonna have a sheriff come to her and say, we're taking your house. You only think you own your house. You're renting it from the government the rest of your life.
That's right.
That's it.
We've been at this for a while. These are getting shop worn, but this is an example of the kind of things that we were up in Harrisburg on the steps, in the rotunda, and we're complaining what's going on. But as you can see over the years, from pay raises to pensions to pay grabs, taxpayer right now has hit its boiling point, and that's where we are. And that's what I carried around the halls in Harrisburg, to let them know that enough's enough, and we've hit it. And this is actually, that's been 2 years, I think, I've been carrying that around. Not to be undone by a caricature my son helped me put together, which emphasizes the point. Pay, perks, and pensions. Property tax eliminating, yes, but pay, perks, and pensions, we had enough of that. They're overpaid for what they're getting done. So those are the kind of things that we're carrying to the elected officials, to let him know that we're not all that happy